Okay, so we now have you've doodled around. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a new sphere. I'll click on this. Click on this. Nope. And I'm gonna pull this a little bit closer to myself so I can. Yeah. That was not something I wanted to do. Get out of there. Okay, and let's undo that. Okay, Control Z, Control Z. All right. What was that? Weird. Okay, something happened, but we'll go back. Okay. So now what I want to do basically is just sculpt this face. I guess I'm gonna, so you can see it here, and look at the front view. I'm gonna go like this. So now this is the side. I held shift to make sure it was good. I'm also gonna turn off perspective because I'm trying to make it nice and flat so I can kind of see what I'm doing. So I don't want for shortening. It's actually gonna make it a little bit harder. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my move, and then I'm gonna hit S to make the draw size bigger, and then we're just going to kind of pull down, and I'm just going to make a more or less kind of generic-y looking kid's head. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of go like that. That's okay. Let's go to the front view. You can see this is a little bit, so I'm going to hold S again. I'll just kind of, okay, let go. There you go. And I'm just going to push this in here. I'm going to hold shift to smooth that in. And I'm going to hold shift and just smooth like that because that'll kind of push it in a little bit. Let's try using the polish here actually. I'm just going to like so, and then I'll hit shift afterwards. Just want to squeeze the head in. Okay. Alright. That looks okay. So I'm going to go back and we'll just use standard because I have a feeling that clay is probably going to be, I want to use clay. So we're just going to use the clay here and try to build up the figure. Okay. So let's do S, make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to hit U for intensity and bring that down a little bit. Let me just see. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. So I'm just going to try and draw basically out this head. So what I like to do is if you turn to the side, generally your eye line, probably if you've done any drawing. The eye line is the halfway mark from the bottom to the top of the head. Okay. Roughly, right? So that's the eye line. The eye line actually matches up with the auditory canal, okay? So that's halfway this way. And then, so your head is one head tall, right? It's 3/4 head wide, and then it's 7/8 head deep. So if you cut that about halfway, that's right about where the ear is. So I like to draw the jaw line first because the ramus of the jaw cuts in and across just before the auditory canal. So I like to do that jaw line across because it's kind of a good starting point. So I'm just going like this. I'm going to hold shift to make sure I'm on the side view. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, there's the ear. So I'm just going to have the jaw come like this. Like that. And make sure we have something here. Okay. So we'll call that good. I'm going to hold Alt and just kind of cut in right here. And then I'm going to, the zygomatic arch, right? So like that, and then you have the mandible area like that, and then we're going to kind of come down and put a nose here, and then we'll put the eye sockets. So I'm going to hold Alt and click, okay, like so, and then we'll have a brow, all right, and then where the parietals are here, I'm just going to kind of draw right across this area, like that, and like so, and then I'm just going to draw a circle here to kind of represent a neck. Alright, kind of. Alright, and then okay. So, right now he looks like a Mexican wrestler. Alright, so from here, basically, I'm going to start, I'm going to cut in here a little bit more. So from here, what I might do too is I'm just going to go ahead and use the move, and I'm going to hold S and S, keep it D. I've had this keyboard so long now that it's all the key thingies are worn out, so there's no actual keys on there. But I like this keyboard, so. Alright, let's go back to the clay buildup. I'm going to hold S. I hate that it keeps the settings from the previous. It's kind of annoying. So I'm going to hold shift, and it's going to draw basically ear, like so. Okay. And let's go a little bit more underneath. Okay, so I'm just going to call that a start, and then basically now I'm going to start building up the form kind of on top of it to draw it. Okay, so the eyes are supposed to be 5 eyes wide, so 1 eye width from the outside, then your eyes, and then 1 eye width between. So you can see my eyes are too far apart. He's like a rabbit. So I'm going to kind of cut this in here a little bit more. All right, and then we'll just build that up a little bit. All right. And now I am just going to basically build it up from here. He's also kind of leaning forward. Let me just fix that real quick. That's super annoying me. So I'm just going to make sure that this, oops, come on, that his head is indeed just, that it looks a little bit more correct. Oops, that's a little bit much. It's getting a little lumpy. Okay. So we'll call that good enough. All right. Well, it's going to be a kid, so. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and basically go back to the clay buildup, go like this, and sort of just sculpt in now the forms here. So let's just kind of build this up. And I'm just going to use, after I draw a stroke, I'm just going to hold shift to smooth. Right, so kind of see. Draw a stroke, hit shift to smooth. So I'm going to hold alt in here and kind of cut this in. And then draw the lips afterwards. Like so. Alright, and I'm going to cut this in a little by holding alt and smooth. Alright, and then maybe a filter from here, so alt, and then I guess we'll just kind of hold shift to smooth that out. I'm just going to hold shift and smooth all this out. So it's a little bit too old, if you will. I made it a little bit of an older person, which is not really my goal, so I'm going to have to add a little more flesh to his bones, if you will. So let's go ahead and give these cheeks a little more girth here, so that he's not so he's a little more kid-like. All right, so and then I'll grab my move, and I'm just gonna take the mouth, just push it back from underneath. The mouth should be round. It kind of goes into the cheeks, right? So you have what's called the Nasolabial Folds. I'm going to kind of push this back like that. Push this out a little. Alright, so it's a little weird there, but we'll take the clay and push this back a little bit. And I'm just going to draw basically a fold there. It doesn't need to be perfect anyway, because we're going to be, some nasal holes there. We're going to be having to kind of want his nose to be a little bit more pointed. Maybe not so much of a crown, though. We're going to retopologize this anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. So let's see. He needs more eye here. So I'm just kind of putting in the eyelids, if you will. All right. So I'm not going to worry about actually having eyes. I'm just going to try and where the eye would go. But if you look, you can see it's way too sunken in on this side, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and go to the move. And let's test this. And I'm going to pull this up a little bit. And then I'm going to push this in a bit. One of the things that people often do incorrect is that they don't put the inside of the eye in enough, so they'll have like the eye kind of wall eye, and then it looks weird. So just be wary of that. So kind of pull that. I'm just gonna like so, and I'm just going to smooth all that out. Alright, and zoom out. Yeah, looks like I kind of pulled his eye up a little bit too. I didn't mean to do that. Smooth that out. Let's go back to the clay, and I'm just going to build that out a little bit. And let's come down a little. Come on. Not very responsive. Let's just try to put that in a little bit there. Come on. And let go. There it goes. And so it's got a bit of a Roman nose. Isn't that what they call that? It's like kind of strong. So let's make this. Okay, come on. There we go. And pull this down. A little bit more of a jaw. Let's smooth that out a little bit. His ear looks a little bit high, so I'm just going to move that around. Let's smooth that out. Oops. That was holding shift. Smooth that down. Alright. Okay. So we have sort of a generic-y looking head. So S to draw that down. Okay. It's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this slash here real quick just to draw the details. So I'm just going to kind of slash in his eyes. Kind of cut this in a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to work with. The thing is, this is only meant as a guide anyway, so it doesn't actually need to be perfect or honestly even really all that great, because you can see mine's pretty bad. Not real happy with it, but let's put that back out. He kind of looks like an old man or something. So we're going to call that good, but you get the rough idea. So what I want you to do is try to sculpt out the head as best as you can, as you see here. Obviously I went pretty fast, but I just want you to see the process. Mostly I was just using the sculpting up, sculpting in, and then you know, then keep rotating around, looking around, look at different perspectives, and then use that move and kind of push it around to try and get the areas right. So the nice thing is when you're doing this sort of stuff, it's got like a weird thing going on with it, like why so serious? The nice thing is when you're doing this sort of stuff, you know, it's not like when you're drawing and like when you do drawing on a piece of paper or you're doing a painting, right? You can't undo, and you have to have like control over your hand. This one, like, if I mess up, I can undo it, or if I need it, like, if I draw a line, it's not perfect, I can shift it, right? As long as I can visually see it, I can change it. So when you're done with this, and you do all the sculpting, and you're happy and you know it, you want to just export it out. So you're just going to go to where this thing is, this little thing that says the export for 3D printing. Click on that. And then, it gives you just the OBJ. You're going to export out as an OBJ. And I usually like to write this on mine. I write to Maya, so I know what it's for. And you want to save that to your project folder, which I don't have mine here. But anyway, save it, export out, and then in the next video we're going to import it and retopologize.